Welcome to Downshift. My name is Matt, and I'm standing here with the last of an icon. This is, of course, Audi's mid-engine supercar, their R8. And this is the extremely exclusive limited run GT, which will send the R8 off into pasture to make way for the new generation of Audi supercars. And there's a lot of cool and interesting stuff going on with this car. So thanks to our friends at Audi Milwaukee, we're going to take a tour of all of the coolest stuff going on with this 2023 Audi R8 GT. Let's get into it. This is one of the most exclusive cars on sale today. There's only 333 made worldwide. 150 of them have come to the United States. And this one in particular, at our friends at Audi Milwaukee, is number 222, which is a super cool number for such a limited edition exclusive car. And then how could we not talk about the engine? This is one of the last of a dying or soon to be dead breed. This is the last V10. This and the Lamborghini Huracan are the last V10s that you can buy. And it's naturally aspirated and sounds incredible. And that, of course, makes it even more exclusive. But this one, for the GT trim, is boosted all the way up to 602 horsepower, up from 562 that you would normally get in a rear-wheel drive R8. So it's making all-wheel drive Quattro R8 power, and it's got 413 horsepower. But man, the sound is really what does it for me. And we did touch on it, but yes, it's true. This 2023, the GT is the final send-off for the R8. We don't know what the future will hold for the R8. There will be, I'm sure, some sort of supercar from Audi, but will it be electric, hybrid? But we know for sure that it won't be naturally aspirated V10. So if you want one of the ultimate R8s ever to go down in the history books, you're gonna want this GT. And this GT trim comes exclusively as rear-wheel drive. It's one of the only Audis that you can buy not Quattro. Pretty much everything else aside from the R8 in Audi's lineup comes with Quattro all-wheel drive. But you do get rear drive here, and you get the full power, like we talked about, that is reserved generally for the all-wheel drive ones. So again, this is the ultimate expression of finesse and handling from Audi. And as I'm sure you could guess, this thing is pretty quick. 0 to 60 in the low 3 seconds, even in rear-wheel drive here, and a top speed of 199 miles an hour. And part of what makes that pace possible is the fact that this GT drops 44 pounds from normal R8 rear-wheel drives, and that's courtesy largely of forged wheels, carbon ceramic brakes. You do have carbon fiber reinforced plastic for your anti-roll bars, front and rear. And of course, you've got slimmer and trimmer sport bucket seats, and they look great to boot. And all that's further accentuated by the aggressive carbon aero kit that you get here. Full carbon front splitter up here, looking very mean. You've got front carbon dive planes or canards, very, very cool. Again, carbon ceramic brakes. We do have carbon for our wing mirrors. We've got carbon side skirts all the way back. And of course, the classic Audi side blade, that's carbon too. Why wouldn't it be? And I don't even know what you call these things, but they're really cool. And you've got them in carbon. And a huge over-dramatized carbon diffuser. And that's not even to mention the carbon fiber rear gooseneck spoiler. Really, really cool look and very functional. And we've mentioned these a time or two. These are 20-inch GT specific wheels. They're forged, they're all gloss black, and they have a nice little red Audi Sport detail in the rim. And of course, they're wrapped in an aggressive set of Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires, very befitting of a car like this. And peeking out from underneath, all red Audi carbon ceramic brake calipers. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Brings down unsprung weight. You're gonna feel that behind the wheel. And I wanna talk about the engine compartment for a second, but we have to come into the car, turn it on, which is always a treat. But then, to get into the engine compartment, we look behind our seats here, and that is how you release the glass. And then back here, you know how we talked about the carbon fiber? Well, it's everywhere in your back engine compartment as well. And you have black intakes to the V10. Very cool, and it sounds epic. But then back to the interior for a second. Do you notice what you don't have in your center console that you usually have? Would that be cup holders? Well, they're hiding right in here. So if you want to drink something, you're not gonna be able to put your elbow there. And now I wanna talk about this button right here, which is actually also a dial. It's a checkered flag, which obviously suggests that there's something sporty to do. Keep your eye on the P there when I push it. So I'm gonna push it. Now we're in performance mode, and performance stabilization control, sport, warning, reduced stability. This is Audi's torque rear system. So this is Audi kind of synthesizing a drift mode, if you will. You have 7 different levels of traction intervention to allow more or less slip from the rear if you want to get a little bit sideways or a lot sideways. Very cool. You like to see Audi having a little bit of fun here. And for this next point, I want to talk about badging. Now, for such an exclusive and special car, it's really pretty subtle in terms of badging. We have a typical R8 logo up here in your front grille, as you normally would for any other R8. And then you've got V10 on your front fender, again, as you would for a normal R8. Then you've got R8 on your gas cap, typical. And then on the way back here, on the back deck, it says R8 GT. And that's really the only place that has a specific trim badge to indicate how special this car is. So, in theory then, this is a lot more subtle than really even any M car from BMW, or even any non-M car. Subtlety, but very, very cool. And then I want to talk transmission here. Now, it's the same 7-speed dual clutch transmission that we're used to seeing in R8s. But for this rear drive, full power GT trim, they've reprogrammed and re-geared the 7-speed to be quicker shifting and to get you to 60 and 100 and maybe even 199 quicker than ever before. And this next point, I want to talk about something a little strange. It's the key. It looks a little bit like the R8 key that you've had pretty much the whole time. And if you thought we were done talking about carbon fiber and badging, think again. Again, totally carbon fiber door sills and kick plates, plus you do have the trim-specific R8 GT logo here. This is going to be really satisfying to whoever peels this off. I wish I could be there for that. And the Audi R8 is credited with being one of the most livable and practical mid-engine supercars that you can buy. And I can totally see why when we step into the frunk. I mean, this is deep. It comes halfway up my arm, past my elbow, and it's a pretty good size. Plus, you have a little bit of shelving behind the front seats, which we'll talk about later. And I want to talk about 2 GT exclusive things here. We talked about one thing already, and it's the fact that all GTs will come as rear-wheel drive. But all GTs will also come in coupe body style. You will not and cannot get a GT in the convertible. And then I want to talk about the seats. Now, like I said, these are a bit skinnier, they're saving weight, but they're still very Audi. And what I mean by that is they look aggressive, but they're still very comfortable. You can absolutely spend 4, 5, 6 hours at a time in these, but they're still really cool. You've got Bang & Olufsen audio within the seat still. You've got excellent leather. You've got great contrasted red stitching. You've got Alcantara inner to hold you in place if the bolsters should fail, which they won't. And you have R8 GT embroidered within the seat itself. And if that wasn't enough, red seat belts. And just because you probably want it to match, you've got R8 GT red accented floor mats too. And if for whatever reason you don't want this amazing black spec R8 GT, there are 3 colors you can choose from. You can get Suzuka Gray, which looks kind of white, kind of gray depending on the light. You can get Tango Rot Red, or I might just stay with black. And I want to take a minute to appreciate this steering wheel. Of course, a nice flat bottom with a noon marker so you know exactly where your hands are and where the wheel is facing if you're on track. And of course, it's wrapped in Alcantara, so you have excellent grip if you are going to huck it around track. And just because you have red contrasted accenting within the inside rim. Of course, typical Audi logo in the center. You've got a red engine start-stop button, which is one of my favorite things in cars. And of course, you can control how loud or quiet you want your exhaust. But it doesn't stop there. You have your drive selector here, and like we showed earlier, your torque rear controls here to go into performance mode and then dial in your drift. I never get tired of that. And then, of course, it wouldn't be an Audi without the virtual cockpit, which again is one of my favorite things. You can change different views, how you want your cluster to look. I really like this one with your tack and speed all in the center. But again, you can change it. You can have things on the side, like your map, eventually. There we go. It's just really nice, really, really cool. And of course, it is still wrapped in carbon fiber, even on the interior bit here and on the exterior portion here. And you notice what you don't have here? an infotainment screen in the center here. This is a very driver-focused car, obviously, so the driver gets all the information, but the passenger may want to adjust their temperature, and you've got these 3 pods. This is very typical R8 design, and I love it. It's very cool, digital, and it's nice and satisfying to toggle as you make your adjustments. And this badge is interesting. On the passenger side of the dash, it just says long line, then rear wheel drive, because you wouldn't want to forget that you have a rear-wheel drive GT, which of course is the only flavor it comes in. And just to be thorough, there's still carbon fiber in your center vents, carbon on your door vent over there, as well as the interior portion of the door card, and you've got carbon fiber all in your center console. And what's that? Another subtle R8 GT badge with your number designation. Again, 222 out of 333, really cool number to have for your R8 GT. And you probably wouldn't want a sunroof in your high-performance, lightweight supercar, but you might want a diamond weave quilted and red accent stitched Alcantara headliner. That just looks epic with the seats. And I mentioned the R8 is pretty practical for a mid-engine supercar, and it is. You've got this little parcel shelf back here if you want to put bags, suitcases, or things like that. You even have a hook to hang things like suit jackets and shirts and things like that. And of course, you've got an old school CD player. And as we talked about before, your engine compartment release right there. Really cool, pretty practical. And the last thing I want to talk about is price. Now, R8 GTs start at about $250,000. But again, it's gonna be super exclusive, so talk to your dealer about what you're gonna spend. Now, that $250,000 mark means that the R8 GT in rear drive form is about $90,000 more than another R8 in rear drive form. But this R8 GT is bringing $40,000 worth of options like carbon ceramic brakes, the carbon aero kit, etc., etc. So there's maybe a $50,000 implied exclusivity value. And to me, I think that might be worth it because I have a strong feeling that this is going to be a very collectible car in the future. The last of the naturally aspirated V10s possibly ever. Very, very cool. I'm glad we got to take a look at this thing. So those are the 26 coolest things about the R8 GT. And again, special thanks to our friends at Audi Milwaukee for letting us take a tour. Due to the limited nature of this car, again, only 333 are made worldwide. We're not really able to spend a whole lot of time behind the wheel here, but if you're interested in number 222, check out our friends at Audi Milwaukee. And again, thanks to them for making this video possible, and we'll see you in the next one.